everybody. This, I know, might look a little strange. Not only one David with you today, but two. Aye. Well, the reason I'm here and not here is because I'm actually on holiday this week, but I didn't want to miss out on the chance to join you today. Tuesday, isn't it? That's right, yes. Anyway, just to give you some thoughts around seasons that we're going through. Trust you're all as well as, and venturing on. I am located in a place not far from my home, and that's South Queensferry. You can see in the distance there, across the River Forth, just to the other side there. Up that, oh no, you never get this quite right. Anyway, up in the corner, which way do I need to look? Up that way, yes, up that way, is the Forth Road Bridge. And I've come across to North Queensferry, and that will become clear as to why in just a moment. But I want to give you a few thoughts today just on one of my favourite heroes of the faith, a guy called Joshua. Now, I know I've spoken about Joshua before, and that great verse of his that God gave him just before he had to lead the people of Israel into a new land. Be strong and be courageous. Don't be anxious. Don't be discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Great word to him, fabulous word to us in our time and season. And it got me to thinking just the way in which we're journeying through what's been a really unusual time for us all in the nation. And I want to just impart a few things about what kind of lessons we've been learning as we've come through this time. And important before we step out into the new land and new territory that lies ahead, that we take stock of what we've learned over this period. And so I want to go beyond Joshua 1 verse 9, where God gave him those words, to the moment where in chapter 3, Joshua is preparing the people to go in and face the new land. Early in the morning, Joshua and all the Israelites set out from Shittim and went to the Jordan, where they camped before crossing over. After 3 days, the officers went throughout the camp, giving orders to the people. When you see the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord your God and the Levitical priests carrying it, you are to move out from your positions and follow it. Then you will know which way to go, since you've never been this way before. But keep a distance of about 2,000 cubits between you and the ark. Do not go near it. Joshua told the people, consecrate yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord is going to do amazing things among you. Joshua said to the priests, take up the Ark of the Covenant and pass on ahead of the people. So they took it up and they went ahead of them. And the Lord said to Joshua, today I will begin to exalt you in the eyes of all Israel, so they may know I am with you as I was with Moses. Tell the priests who carry the Ark of the Covenant, when you reach the edge of the Jordan's waters, go and stand in the river. And then at chapter 4, verses 1 to 7, there we read, when the whole nation had finished crossing the Jordan, the Lord said to Joshua, choose 12 men from among the people, one from each tribe. You see, what happened was when the priests went in, put their foot in the water, suddenly that emerged, that what you see behind me there. There was a parting of the water and dry land emerged. 2 million people then walked across. So when they'd finished crossing, the Lord said to Joshua, choose 12 men from among the people, one from each tribe, and tell them to take up 12 stones from the middle of the Jordan, from right where the priests are standing, and carry them over with you and put them down at the place where you stay tonight. So Joshua called together the 12 men he'd appointed from the Israelites, one from each tribe, and he said to them, go over before the ark of the Lord your God into the middle of the Jordan. Each of you is to take up a stone on his shoulder, according to the number of the tribes of Israelites, to serve as a sign among you. In future, when your children ask you, what do these stones mean? Tell them that the flow of the Jordan was cut off before the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord. When it crossed the Jordan, the waters of the Jordan were cut off. These stones are to be a memorial to the people of Israel forever. God then instilling within them the importance of remembering. And that's what we're going to look at today. But before we do that, I'm going to take you live to that very spot that you see behind. So, if you're sitting comfortably, we shall continue. Thanks, lads. That's brilliant. That's 12. Is that right? 12. Okay. Good. Excellent.
That looks about right. Oh, hello. Yeah, thanks guys. We'll catch you later. Okay, just you head on. Jericho next. I'll just have a word with the folks here. Well, hello, good evening, or afternoon, or morning, whatever time of day it is, wherever you are, whenever you are. As you'll see, the cairn is now complete. 12 little stones upon it. And those stones, as you've just read and heard in that story, obviously came from the middle of the river. As you'll see, the parting of the river has just concluded, and Leslie and I made our way across here with it parted the whole way. So, no we didn't, okay, I'm joking. Whereas Joshua and the 2 million or so people of Israel made their way through a vast open dry space as the river Jordan parted, as they made their way across to the promised land, so we have come across to our promised land. No, I'm joking. We just left the promised land, David. We know Queensferry south to be the place that's the promised land. So here we are, and unlike Joshua, Leslie and I just took about 5 minutes to come over the Forth Road Bridge. Joshua and his pals took 40 years to get themselves across the river and into the land of promise, the land of Canaan. And now that they're there, challenges lie ahead for them. And we're going to be reflecting a bit on that this morning. But here we are, taking these 12 little stones. God invited Joshua under his leadership to invite each tribe to choose a stone from the river and to bring it and lay it together, so that in the days to come, when their children saw this pillar, this cairn, they would ask the question, what does this mean? And that would be the opportunity for the people of Israel in the generations to come to pass on to their children the importance of what they remembered and what they found God to be faithful and present and powerful with them, taking them into this whole new land. So we are on the other side of the river now. And as you look back across, I guess it's probably fair to say, you could probably see your house from here, back on Queensferry. We are journeying through the book of Joshua today, and at the heart of the beginning of that journey was a momentous moment in the history for the people of Israel. Joshua, under leadership of God, led them into the new land, and the things that they will remember of that journey were embodied within these small stones. The things that they learned on that journey. We're all on a journey through life, and I guess fair to say we've been on a very significant journey. And later in our service we're going to be reflecting on the things that are important for us to remember, that God is teaching us during our time of testing in the wilderness days, but also in the days of deliverance when we embark on a new chapter, a new opening in our life together. So continue with me on this great journey and this great adventure of faith.
Well, thanks very much, David. That was great, and great to be able to see what a miracle truly looks like. Anyway, what we're going to do now is those 12 stones now set before the people as a memorial, as something, as an aide-memoire to their remembering. I want to think for a moment or two about what kind of things that they might remember. And in order to do this, I'm going to share my screen with you and take you to a little PowerPoint, something I prepared earlier. There we are. 12 things from the cairn of remembrance. Remember, we're thinking about what the people of Israel have done, and here we are now looking at how this might apply to us as we remember what we've been through in this time. Before we look at what we might remember for ourselves, let's go to see what the people of Israel might remember as they step out of that adventure. 12 things from the cairn of remembrance. First thing they might remember is that they're all different. There were 12 tribes. And remember, friends, we too are likewise similarly different and unique. Remember also that they were all one. There was one cairn as they were united as the people of Israel in that. And we too, all united in Christ. The next thing they were invited to do specifically was to tell the next generation that God had done amazing things. And that is as important today as it was back then. The telling of one generation to the next, the call of evangelism, to pass on the good news from one generation to the next. As Corrie ten Boom wisely once said, God has no grandchildren. Each generation has to find that unique, distinctive relationship with God directly. What kind of things then might they be telling the next generation? Well, first of all, as they look back over their time in the wilderness, and as they look back over their time of oppression in Egypt, the first thing that I think they would be wise to remember would be that God heard the cry of their hearts. And friends, God hears the cry of our hearts. Through this time that we've come through, there'll have been days that we would have soon just came to a quick end. But God heard our cry, and God continues to hear the cries of our hearts as we face our challenging and testing times. We have a God who listens, who hears, and who also responds. Maybe not always in the way we expect or hope, but nonetheless, that's our God. Secondly, remember that God delivered us from slavery and oppression in Egypt. We have a God who's a deliverer. And I guess through the oppressive times that we've been through, the sense that we're coming out of this period of restriction, of cocoonment, reminds us that God is with us. And that's a precious thing. God is there to deliver us from it. And we continue to look to him to help see us through this. Sixthly, remember God was patient with the people of Israel when they took our eyes off him and his ways. Remember that moment, Moses up the mountain, getting the 10 commandments, and he comes back down and a new golden calf has been built. They couldn't wait, in a sense. Remember, God is with us when we take our eyes off him. He is patient with us. He is slow to anger and quick to love. And his compassions are new every morning. They fail not at all. So remember, God is patient with us, particularly if we've found ourselves through this time going off down different paths, the normal checks and balances in our soul life, perhaps not able to be maintained during this time. The good thing is, God is with us. Remember also, God was with us even at his own tent. And that's one of the marvelous things, that when God instructed the people of Israel to set out in the wilderness, he had the tent of meeting right in the heart of it all. A wonderful place to find God. God with us. He's got his own tent wherever we go. So you plan to move anywhere, God's there, and God will be with you. Remember also that God provided for the people of Israel with manna from heaven. We have a God who provides, and God's provision through this testing time has been a blessing to many of us. It may be that we will still face testing times ahead, as our income may be restricted, job prospects changed. But remember, God is the one who provides. Continue to look to him, trust him. Remember also, God cared for the people of Israel through laws for our good and benefit. I guess we've all been through a season where various laws are being imposed upon us, and there's great debate going on about why we should be doing this, why we should be doing that, why we should be doing the next thing. The important thing we recognize is that laws are for our good and for our benefit, providing we've got one that we can trust, is just and is wise, and praying for wisdom and justice amongst our leaders, crucial at a time such as this. Remember, God helped the people of Israel remember what mattered through festivals and feasts. And I guess as we journey forward, yes, there'll be days of celebration returning to our community life and our family lives and our church lives. And those are the things which give extra meaning to us and help us remember what's important in life. The greatest feast that the Lord initiated for all of us was, of course, to take bread and wine and to share that together. And I've been privileged to do that with you. Remember, God led them from heaven via a cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. From earth via Moses was the way he did it. God will raise up leaders to lead us and direct us during our days and time. Maybe that God is leading you at this time through cloud or pillar of fire. The important thing is to know this, that God is a God who longs to lead us into his good, pleasing, and perfect will. So follow him, wherever that may take you. And finally, remember, God provided a successor in Joshua. God was always and is always looking to the future. So whilst we might be anxious about the next stage, fret not. God is already there. God already knows that. So there we are, a few thoughts from Joshua as he moved forward into the promised land with the people of Israel. I hope you'll continue to keep your eyes fixed on the Lord, the one who is there with you, for you, beside you, within you, and among you. Blessings on you, and I'm off on holiday. So catch you soon. Take care. Bye for now.